So I was a little bit heavier guy, and that was, the title says there, from nutritional vegan to ethical vegan. And that to me is the key right there. We've talked about the health aspect now. Now we're going to go into some of the other levels, some of the deeper levels. And to me, once we tap in, by the way, you is a very powerful word when you're speaking publicly. Be careful. I always try to use we. And if you say you, it's a very powerful word. If you say, you need to change your lifestyle, you need to change your diet, that's kind of like a little attacking the person. So when I speak, and I learned this from some people who speak, and I thought that was great advice. So I always try to say we. Once we make the connection that it's more than us, that it's really not about us. It's not about us. It's about the world around us. It's about what kind of world we want to live in. So when we do it for ourselves, and people come to Hippocrates, half of them are sick, half of them are smart. Some people are sick and smart. And a lot of people, at least half, I say, are up against the wall with a chronic or catastrophic disease. And that certainly gives you the right to want to fix yourself. And Hippocrates helps people help themselves. We don't cure cancer. They don't cure cancer. They don't have any magic dust. They give people the information to helping people help themselves, right? But when you do it for yourself, when you go vegan for yourself, we call that veganism through the side door, right? But veganism through the front door, that's what we're going to talk about the rest of the time. We realize we're all interconnected, that all life is interconnected, that all life is a beautiful tapestry of interconnectedness, and that the food animals have been endowed with an ability to suffer. And so now we will talk about the mental health, our mental health. Because what are we eating when we eat food? No matter what we're eating attitudes. And if we're eating so-called animal foods, what the hell are we eating? You know what we're eating? We're eating domination, exploitation, hard-heartedness, exclusion, elitism. What do I mean by elitism and exclusion? Have you guys heard of speciesism? There's a great documentary called Speciesism. It's basically, speciesism is our idea that us humans are superior to other beings, and that therefore we have the right, essentially, to use them for what we want. Exclusion. We've excluded some animals from our sphere of concern. How many people have companion pets or have grown up or lived with companion pets?
Picture of your cat.
Oh yeah, you have a picture, right here is a picture of your cat. And how many, and anybody else with a dog? Right, dogs. Okay, so when you look into the eyes of your cat, when you look into the eyes of your dog, you know there's someone in there, right? Okay, but somehow we've excluded cows, pigs, chicken, and fish from that. Somehow we've excluded cows, pigs, chicken from that. But at our holiday card or our Christmas card, the family's all together with the family dog just before we go and have a turkey dinner on Thanksgiving, for example. And so what we're causing. On the factory farm, they suffer from, of course, pain. They're scared to death. They suffer from depression, anxiety, and sleeplessness. And then guess what? We go to the doctor in record numbers for sleeplessness, anxiety, and depression. So we're eating these foods that actually affects our mental health. Our values, like freedom, liberation, equality, peace, justice, respect for females, the Me Too movement. How can we say we're for or we identify with the Me Too movement when we're eating dairy products, which dairy food can be summed up in two words: sexual violence. So how can we want peace, health, equality, justice if there's absolutely the opposite is on our plate? And this is affecting our mentality. The biggest mental problem that we have when we eat animal foods is that we're disconnected. We said earlier, all life is a beautiful tapestry of interconnectedness. But we're disconnected when we eat animal foods because we would never do the things required to bring meat, dairy products, and eggs on our plate. We would never do it. And yes, thank you. Who do we pay? Who do we pay to do our dirty work? We pay these poor factory farm workers to do our dirty work. And did you know that this group of workers has the highest form of highest level of spousal abuse, highest level of drug and alcohol abuse, and highest level of suicide? Because what they know they're doing is wrong. And there's actually a clinical term for it. They suffer from self-induced post-traumatic stress disorder. Self-induced post-traumatic stress disorder, because what they know, what they're doing is wrong. Our gut health, our microbiome. You know what's interesting about the microbiome study now in science? It's only, I'm going to say maybe a 12 or 13-year-old study as a body of knowledge, our microbiome. Now it's so important, they're realizing they're calling it the second brain. Our microbiome, our gut is actually, they're calling the second brain. And did you know that I think it's 70 or 80% of our serotonin is in our gut. So when we're eating plant foods, it's essentially, without getting scientific, it's sending happy signals to our brain. When we're eating rotting, decomposing flesh, it's sitting in our gut and it's sending a different signal in our brain. But the real reason why vegans score higher for happiness is because we shit more. We shit more, about 6 times more. About 6 times more. And that is a blessing. If you can relate, you know that that's a blessing. So this plant-based way of living, this plant-based diet actually, when it comes to our mental health, will solve more depression than all the pills combined. Let's talk about our spiritual health. The consequences of our food choices greatly affect our spiritual health. And I'm sure you've heard of the term karma, which is the law of cause and effect, right? And when it comes to what we eat, when it comes to eating animal foods, basically, we kill the animals and the animals kill us. It's the boomerang effect. Bessie's revenge. We talk about that more on Wednesday. What goes around comes around. Veganism is in profound alignment with the major religions of the world. Buddha and Buddhism. Buddha was a vegan, espoused a diet without the shedding of blood. I could go, when I was in Asia for 90 days, for 3 months, I could go to any restaurant, although I did seek out the vegan restaurants through Happy Cow. Do you guys use Happy Cow? Heard of Happy Cow? I used it. I think I have like some kind of high-level ambassador badge from Happy Cow. I gave, I think, 400 reviews and in my travels, and I'm some kind of grand wizard of the Happy Cow. And anyway, I could go anywhere in Asia besides if I didn't use Happy Cow. I could just go to a restaurant and say, please give me the Buddhist meal, without even seeing a menu. Just anywhere in Asia you can go and say, give me the Buddhist meal, because they know that essentially is a plant-based meal. And of course, we talked about it. The Hindus have ahimsa, which is the principle of nonviolence. And then my faith tradition, Christianity, and the Judeo-Christian faith tradition has the 10 Commandments. Not only thou shalt not kill, but thou shalt not steal. We're stealing milk. Thou shalt not covet. We're covering what someone else has. And thou shalt not commit adultery, which includes the things you have to do to get milk from a cow, includes sexual involvement. So I don't care if you're the Pope or you're the president. If we're eating animal foods, we've hit, at least from my perspective, we've hit a spiritual ceiling. We've hit a spiritual ceiling. So the question I have, and we're going to look at a video on Wednesday that asks this question in some detail. Why aren't the religious leaders teaching the original teachers? Or if they're holding themselves out as spiritual leaders, why aren't they, practice what you preach, right? Why aren't they doing that? Just a question. But we're talking about religion versus spirituality. And I bring up the example of ride sharing with Uber. How many people have used ride sharing? You've been in an Uber car before? And I'm so proud, I have a 4.95 Uber rating. I don't know where that 0.05 points came from, but I really want 5 stars every time. And you know what? And the driver wants 5 points too. Well, you guys know there's a point system, right? When you think about it, the reason why we're nice to each other in our day-to-day is because you can retaliate and I can retaliate if you don't like what I do and I don't like what you do. If I came up to you and smacked you, you might roundhouse me and knock me out. So we're cool, so I'm not going to do that to you. And so with the Uber driver, he's nice to me, I'm nice to him. The biggest complaint with Uber drivers for the passengers is that the passengers slam the door. So like I even have like a little dance when I get out, and I always ask for 5 stars, and I like want him to see like just how nicely I'm closing the door, because I really care about that 5-star rating. But to me, the spiritual breakthrough occurs when we honor and respect and treat nicely those who cannot retaliate. That's namely cows, pigs, chicken, and fish.